You're listening to Talkback. Good morning, Talkback.
Good morning, fellas. How you doing this Saturday?
Hey, good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. You know, it's Bill Swift with the Lenawee County Democratic Party.
Yes, sir.
I'm calling because of, I just keep calling to let folks know about things and discuss issues of the day. Since you did bring it up, that was in relation to a statement that I had made about traitors trying to make Donald Trump a king. There are some folks that have been posting on our Facebook page saying that we need to acknowledge that Donald Trump is our king. And they have made statements that maybe they would make Donald Trump a king. Mm-hmm. And in response, I said, and I believe this to be 100%, I stand behind this statement, that that's treason. Anybody furthering an effort to make anybody a king, and they should be arrested, and they should be facing the death penalty. They should be hanged by the neck until dead. I believe that this is one of the few areas of the law where I believe the death penalty should be imposed.
Michigan Democrat claims that all Trump supporters have committed treason and should be hung by the neck until dead. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms, your NRA certification of multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And if you like channel, like content, and what I do here, you can support me with the link. Everything's appreciated. And as I always say, just realize that comments on gun-related channels can be removed without notification. Just be aware that this is happening. If I remove it, I will tell you. And as always, a side note, as I've been saying for the last couple of days, my new merch is in. I'll be putting a video together to let you know how you can purchase it. As you can see, I'm wearing a t-shirt. You can see the little image here behind me. So keep an eye out for that. But let's talk about this. And this is a Democrat out of Lenawee County. His name is Bill Swift. He went to Facebook, and his entire party, actually, not just him, they're all 100% behind this, and claimed that Trump supporters are committing treason and they should be arrested and hung by the neck until dead. You know, for as much as Democrats talk about right-wing violence and white supremacy and everything else, we have consistently seen over the years who is actually the most violent and who is quick to commit themselves to violence when they don't get their way. Now, this person went on a talk show. It's called Talkback Radio with Doug Spade and Mike Clement, which I assume is a local Michigan station. And he not only doubled down on his statements, he basically was proud of making such statements. Now, they originally went to Facebook and posted this tirade. They then took it down because they claimed that Trump supporters who were going to their Facebook page and saying, hey, you're not cool with doing this. They said they may commit violence when these people were openly calling for violence against Trump supporters. But I want to play his little interview on this radio station because it's just another unhinged rant by leftists who can't accept the fact that they lost. But listen here.
You're listening to Talkback. Good morning, Talkback.
Good morning, fellas. How you doing this Saturday?
Hey, good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. You know, it's Bill Swift with the Lenawee County Democratic Party.
Yes, sir.
I'm calling because of, I just keep calling to let folks know about things and discuss issues of the day. I wanted to cover, Tim Walberg, our congressman, has picked up one of the things that we had posted on our Facebook page. We took it down. Because we got some concerned comments from folks that said the folks that are commenting on your page there might do violence to people in our community. So we removed the post. But we, at the party, and I as an individual, absolutely 100% support the statements that we made. And there were two of them. One had to do with the inaugural ceremony on Monday. And the second one was in relation to that. But further outlining a very rational argument. So on Monday, for those folks that haven't been paying attention, the the inaugural ceremony featured the number one funder of campaign funds on the election for President Trump. Spent over $250 million. He's involved in the administration, and he was there at the inaugural, being a central figure in the inaugural, and that's Elon Musk. And Elon Musk at the inaugural performed two Hitler salutes, two Nazi salutes. This isn't out of context, taken out of context, still pictures, which seems to be what the Republicans have wanted to respond with as some sort of comparison to other people who have, they've got these pictures that are capturing people at a split second. That's not what this is. This is a deliberate, very clear, unambiguous Nazi salute. As the German newspaper Der Zeit said, the Hitler salute is a Hitler salute is a Hitler salute. There isn't any construction under which the thing is not what it is.
Social media users are closely scrutinizing a gesture made by Elon Musk during a speech yesterday, many in the media insisting that it was actually a Nazi salute. But Musk defenders assert this is absolutely a false suggestion. The ADL wrote, "This is a delicate moment." That's the Anti-Defamation League. It's a group that monitors anti-Semitic hate. "This is a new day, and yet so many are on edge. Our politics are inflamed, and social media only adds to the anxiety. It seems that Elon Musk made an awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm, not a Nazi salute. But again, we appreciate that people are on edge. In this moment, all sides should give one another a bit of grace, perhaps even the benefit of the doubt, and take a breath. This is a new beginning. Let's hope for healing and work toward unity in the months and years ahead."
And so we pointed that out, and we pointed out that being the case, and this is just, the evidence that is available, right? That which has been happening. Donald Trump ran on Nazi rhetoric and Nazi ideas. He kept, quote, accidentally, end quote, posting propaganda and rhetoric on his social media accounts that were things like unified Reich. He kept saying things at his rally openly, things like immigrants are poisoning the blood of our people. These are statements of a Nazi. At conservative Republican rallies and organizations like CPAC, Nazi iconography, Nazi imagery, Nazi language has been front and center. What has not been front and center, of course, is the word Nazi. So what has happened with this Elon Musk fella, who for the last 2 years has transformed his social media empire into a right-wing Nazi echo chamber, where these kinds of ideas are promulgated and amplified, and he is posting these things. With this open and out gesture, it's what we would call a transformative moment in American history. Because what we had on Monday was a Nazi rally for our presidential inaugural because of this. Now, there are a lot of people out there that are going to say that this is a fantasy, this is not true. Possibly care less. I spent the last 4 years trying to wake people up to their constitutional and duties and their duties as a citizen, to inform themselves and to make decisions that are not contrary to the Constitution and not contrary to my rights and attacking of my rights as a citizen. I'm not going to stand for that. And so we made this statement, and I'm going to go ahead and read a portion of it. Okay? Uh-huh. I typically don't do this reading stuff, but I want to say it. Okay? The necessary and moral preconditions for the extra-constitutional removal of the President of the United States and any elected officials at any level of government who professes support for or provides material support for this man or his administration have been met. As well, this holds true for the 6 Supreme Court justices who ruled that presidents are above the law. We are no longer a constitutional republic. We are a fascist, Nazi, billionaire oligarchy. And the reason that I'm making these statements out there is it's the last chance for people that have decided that they are going to embrace or apologize for or ignore this, what's happening, this Nazi takeover of our country. To be frank, the thing that makes it morally sufficient is not the Nazism. That's just a terrible add-on to it. President Donald Trump committed insurrection and tried to overthrow the government of the United States. And the duly elected, constitutionally mandated authorities refused to do their duty to protect the country from the domestic enemy and domestic terrorist that Donald Trump is. And that's immaterial. It doesn't matter to me anymore that those institutions have failed, because it's now incumbent upon us, the people, to decide what we're going to allow in our country. And I'm not going to allow a Nazi regime in the United States. That's just the way it's going to be. And so, real quick, President, just before the election, issued this cryptocurrency, received $40 billion from who knows where, from who knows what sources. This attempt to end birthright citizenship by executive order. This act alone would be sufficient morally to support his extra-constitutional removal. That's him saying, I am violating the Constitution of the United States here, right now. Bam, that's what I'm doing. This thing that he's done with the ending of the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission, this goes back to the LBJ executive order that was passed saying, hey, we got to have race, sex, nation of origin. These things can't be used to discriminate against people in federal contracting. He abrogated that and overturned that. That is an act of a Nazi. ICE raids planned for our schools and our churches. When I think about little kindergartners and fifth graders and middle schoolers in school and having jackbooted thugs raid the schools and drag these little kids out of the schools, I say to myself, oh, that's the act of a Nazi. They're going into our churches and doing this to our parishioners. Section 3 is the 14th Amendment exists. I'm just going to reiterate that. The 13th Amendment also exists. These things can't be abrogated by fiat. We're not and have not been a fiat country. We've been a rule of law country. But unfortunately, these Republicans who have transformed the country into a Nazi regime have destroyed the rule of law completely and utterly.
And I'm going to have to...
Divided, Doug? Yep, just the last thing.
Yeah.
A house divided against itself will not stand. That's Abraham Lincoln. And he said, we will either be all one thing or we will be all the other. So people got to decide what they're going to tolerate. Watch the Netflix movie number 24. That's the last thing I've got to say. Thank you so much.
Well, and I just want to say, though, while you're on the phone,
Yes, sir.
your opinions and your thoughts are always welcome on this show, as are other folks who may totally disagree with you. And the reason I say
Sure.
that, we had a message from a gentleman whom I respect very much yesterday saying, please do not support Bill Swift on your show. We're supporting everyone who has something they feel needs to be said. And you are always entitled to do that. If he or other people think you're incorrect, they're welcome to call and say how they feel about it. That's a hallmark of the freedom in this country.
And on this show.
And on this show.
Since you did bring it up, that was in relation to a statement that I had made about traitors trying to make Donald Trump a king. There are some folks that have been posting on our Facebook page saying that we need to acknowledge that Donald Trump is our king. And they have made statements that maybe they would make Donald Trump a king. Mm-hmm. And in response, I said, and I believe this to be 100%, I stand behind this statement, that that's treason. Anybody furthering an effort to make anybody a king, and they should be arrested, and they should be facing the death penalty. They should be hanged by the neck until dead. I believe that this is one of the few areas of the law where I believe the death penalty should be imposed. And that's I stand behind that.
And you're totally legitimate to say what you think. Nobody should turn you into the sheriff's department or ban you or anything. You have a right to say that just as much, and just as much as someone that may totally disagree with you.
Well, opinions vary. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
You heard that. Everything he said is basically a leftist talking point. But what we should be worried about is the fact that this kind of rhetoric, this kind of, as we saw in Pennsylvania, as we saw in Florida, this kind of rhetoric leads to real world violence. Mr. Swift should be off the Democratic National Party in Michigan immediately. The party there should be condemning what he said, but they're not. They're all on board with what he's saying. He should be investigated and arrested. As much as the left likes to talk about right-wing extremism and violence, we have seen them do more political violence, especially in the last 8 years, than ever in the history of this country. Political violence. This is a disgrace. And moderate Democrats are watching this and saying, y'all are just going too far, because it seems that the Democrat Party has now shifted to the lunatic fringe of their base, and they're going along with that. And it's going to cause those in the middle and the independents to look at them and say, y'all off the rails. Elon Musk exposes the fact that billions of dollars have been wasted of taxpayers' money on things that have no benefit to American people. And who do they go after? Not the representatives who authorized it, whether they be Republican or Democrat. No, they go after Elon Musk. How does that make sense? But I will say this, because as I just said, this kind of rhetoric leads to real world consequences. The unhinged in their party will act on this violently, as we saw in Pennsylvania, as we saw in Florida. If you remember, the person in Florida literally repeated Democrat leftist talking points about Trump being a Nazi and saving democracy. So don't think that words can't get people killed, because they do. And this man should be damned ashamed of himself. But we find that Democrats are never ashamed of their rhetoric, because they believe they're right, no matter what the consequences of what they do. I say to Michigan Trump supporters, keep an eye out. For those of you who have Trump stuff paraphernalia in your car, be aware. Be aware that people like this are encouraging violence against you. And I say strap up. Okay? That's all I can tell you. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace.